numbers. They go from 32,000 to 10,000. They go from 10,000 to 300. 300 are the chosen ones. Listen to me, Bishop Mose. The 300 are the ones who lap like dogs. I heard somebody say the dogs were going to hell the other day, but he didn't read his Bible. Let me get back on my, forget I even said that. But God gonna use the dogs in this season.
We're trying to bring the world in the church with all these kind of signs and all these kind of Greek mythologies. It's a lie, and if you in it, you on your way to hell. Now, ain't no need of you trying to come to talk to me afterwards. I don't care how many poor people you save. I don't care how many houses you build. If you are in something that has an allegiance other than Jesus, you're in a lie. Ain't no need. I don't care what bishop just crossed over. I don't care none of that stuff. I'ma stay with this book.
I came to preach to somebody. You came to the convention with a plan to lose. And God said to tell you, you leaving out of here with grace to win. I'm going to keep messing with y'all until y'all get it. Do me a favor, touch that person in front of you and tell them you leaving here with grace to win. So you got to stop making plans to lose. I wanted to give you some context here. Judges chapter 6. I don't have time for this, but Judges chapter 6, just so you have context, we find Israel in a spiritually broken state. They're experiencing, watch this, experiencing peace under Deborah's leadership. In Judges chapter 5, the nation again falls into idolatry. And as judgment, God gives them over to the Midianites as a means of getting them back to the place where they can hear his voice and obey. Sometimes God will allow some stuff to happen just so he can get you back in your prayer closet. Who am I preaching to in here? Sometimes God had to let some stuff pop off so you could get back in position. Same thing happens with Israel, and God raises up. I heard this morning. No disrespect here. Hear me in the Holy Ghost. God said, I raised up a gentry. I raised up a Gideon. Oh my God, help me here. I raised up another Gideon. Watch this. Because the Midianites, here's why we have to defeat Midian. Because they are ruthless in their economic oppression. They are ruthless in their spiritual antagonistic behavior. Let me get out of this. They are culturally corruptive. Midian messes up everything. So, but the Midianites represent more than just an enemy. They are the consequence of Israel's broken covenant with God. So God raises up a gentry. He raises up a Gideon. Watch this, mother. Don't be afraid of this. Gideon's name means hewer, or the one who cuts down trees. I don't know what it is that God has given you to do here, but God told me to tell you, you have a grace to do more with less. He says you are the one with the grace to do more with what remains than they were able to do with all that was once present. Somebody help me thank God that he's raised up a Gideon gentry. Somebody help me that he's raised up a leader who has grace to do more even though she's been given less. Oh, God, help me here. There's today's narrative, Bishop Bell, begins with Gideon, instructing Gideon to reduce the numbers. God, knowing that Israel would claim credit for their victory if he didn't cause them to have to reduce the numbers. They go from 32,000 to 10,000. They go from 10,000 to 300. 300 are the chosen ones. Listen to me, Bishop Mose. The 300 are the ones who lap like dogs. I heard somebody say the dogs were going to hell the other day, but he didn't read his Bible. Let me get back on my, forget I even said that. but God gonna use the dogs in this season. God says, I'm gonna use this small force to reassure Gideon that with God on their side, they can defeat the Midianites. Who am I preaching to in this room this morning? You're up against an enemy, and it looks like God reduced your numbers. But God said to tell you, you're going to go home and do more with less. Do me a favor, lay your hands on somebody, tell them you're going home with a grace to do more with less. Turn around, tell somebody you're going to do more with less. Here it is, Gideon's signal. The sound of victory. Oh my God, victory. Somebody say victory has a sound. Say it again, victory has a sound. Your neighbor didn't hear you. Tell them victory has a sound. So at Gideon's signal, they blow the trumpets. They, watch this, they break the jars and they shout a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. It is this unexpected attack that causes panic among the Midianites, who turn on each other in confusion. I just came to prophesy to somebody, the fight you thought you were going to have to fight when you got back to your house is already being fought. And when you get back to your house, you're going to realize that your enemies dealt and destroyed one another. All you're going to have to do is show up and collect the spoil. God help me here today. I'm gone. So now God sends me to encourage those of you who are now mandated to do more with less. God sends me to encourage those of you who look like you're at a disadvantage because the people you started out with are not the people that you are presently walking with. Some of them got scared and left. Some of them that just didn't, they couldn't do it. Yeah. And then watch this, some of them you had to send home. But God told me to tell you, I already have a plan in place to give you the victory. You cannot look at what you had or who you had and allow the enemy to get you in fear. You got to remain unbothered because this is your moment. I got to go, but since we're in Atlanta, let me give you something from one of the fathers of the city. Andrew Young says, the greatest gift that we can give those whom we lead is to teach them how to be unafraid. Oh my God, look at somebody and say, I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Because the devil wants you focused on who left. The devil wants you focused on who couldn't stay. The devil wants you focused on who you had to send away. So that you start believing the lie that you are not enough and you don't have enough to win. I need you to look at somebody and tell them the devil been a lie and the devil still